Okay, so let's move to the next part, that is geopolitical possibilism. So here we will see that the India's Indo-Pacific strategy. This is also one of the part of the possibilism. Okay, despite being peninsular state, environmental constraint, India leverages maritime geography through Sagar Initiative, Quad participation, and island development, demonstrating political choice with geographical possibilities. With geographical possibilities here. Okay, so genepreneurs, as we have discussed in the previous part, the facts of unproductive occupation, the facts of animal plant consequence, and facts of destructive exploitation, we have discussed this in this part here of the genepreneurs. Okay, so I won't be repeating it again. Then in the next part, we go to the British school of thought, where we see very highly two things. One is the heartland theory and the contemporary geopolitics. Not only this, we also go for the development of the welfareism. Welfareism, along with the certain aspect of the behavioralism, but the welfareism is a very important part of the British school of thought. Now, the Harold Halford Mackinder, okay, he is one of the theorists who has given the theory of the heartland theory. Now, during the 1890s and 1900s, okay, where he have thought about this part, he has basically followed the organic state concept, which was given by the German school, basically by Retzel. Basically by Retzel. Now, this organic state concept, it evolved into the concept of the heartland theory. Now, here we will see that he was strongly influenced by the Darwin theme of the struggle and natural selection, as well as the struggle and associated organization. Thus, Darwinian idea had so much pronounced impact. Okay, we can also say Darwin. It pronounced so much impact on his ideas that he had stated that no rational geography can exist which is not built upon and subsequent to the physical geography. Thus, he was essentially a deterministic geographer. His important contribution to the geography was spatial political model, that is the heartland theory. Co-tenants we will see: who rules East Europe commands the heartland. Who rules heartland commands the world island. Who rules the world island commands the world. We'll be discussing this part here in quite detail when we'll be understanding the models, theories, and laws. There will be understanding this better. Contemporary relevance 20 to 25, the Ukraine war as heartland struggle. Strategic geography. Russia's invasion aims to control the Black Sea coast, adding maritime frontage to the heartland. Then, manpower and resources. Ukraine's 44 million population and agricultural industrial base would significantly augment heartland capacity. NATO's containment. Western support to Ukraine reflects Mackinder's cordon sanitaire. This is an important term. You should know this very well. Strategy to prevent single power heartland dominance. This is one of the concepts which was given by Henry Kissinger. Henry Kissinger, he was one of the head of the state of USA during the multiple presidents, and he has given this term of cordon sanitaire, where the heartland is to be kept divided, heartland and rimland, so that if they combine together, they would actually rule the world. So this was taken into part there. 2024 development. Ukraine's drone warfare success in Black Sea demonstrates how technology can challenge traditional land power dominance. Now, second case study here is of China's Belt and Road initiatives as Heartland Strategy. Eurasian integration, BRI's overland route through Central Asia seeks to commercially integrate the heartland, reducing the maritime dependence. Resource access, China Russia, no limits. Participation 2022 creates Heartland Dreamland alliance that Mackinder warned against. Then contemporary data. As of 2024, BRI has 1.3 trillion in projects across 150 countries, with Central Asia receiving 50 billion in infrastructure. When we try to integrate the answer with the UPSC part here, Mackinder's Heartland Theory, conceived in 1904, finds stark validation in 2022-2024 Ukraine conflict. Russia's attempt to annex Ukraine represent classical heartland expansion, acquiring the gateway to command Eastern Europe. However, 21st century warfare, drones, sanctions, information warfare adds complexity that Mackinder's land power determinism didn't foresee. This necessitates neo-deterministic interpretation here. Okay, so this is one of the part here. So Mackinder, we will say that he was one of the very important contributor for the development of the British school of thought. Not only him, we have other theorists here as well. For example, Chisholm. Chisholm will see that he attempted to resurrect the Hettner's concept of chorology. Hettner's concept of chorology, okay, and began the tradition of the regional geography in Britain. Apart from this, we have Patrick Geddes. Patrick Geddes, he started the regional paradigm in the British School of Thought. Okay. Then we have Andrew Hubbardson. He was also one of the geographer who was deterministic in nature, and he forwarded the regional trend in the British geography. So basically, we will see that majority of the geographers here after him, they have worked for the regional geography. Okay. Then after them, we have the American school, that is quantitative revolution to climate determinism. Now, number one, here we have Alan Churchill samples environmental determinism. We have discussed this earlier also. Redsell has one of the disciples, that is Alan Churchill sample. So sample argued climate shapes civilization levels, with temperate maritime regions most favorable. So this was one of the statement which was given by Alan Sample. So when we talk about the sample here, Sample started the environmental determinism paradigm in America. She was a disciple of Redsel and was very much influenced by the volume 1 anthropogeography. She published various books in Americas like American History and Its Geographic Conditions. Her best books is Influence of Geographic Environment, where she elaborated her idea of the environmental determinism. She pointed out that the man was a product of Earth's surface, a child of Earth, dust of her dust, which had entered into his bones and tissues. I'm repeating it again. She has pointed out that man was a product of Earth's surface, a child of Earth, dust of her dust, which had entered into his bones and tissues. However, she still respects the human endeavor and enterprises, which becomes clear when she states the examples of Anglo-Saxons of the Kentucky Mountain in the USA. She found that her cultural characteristic persisted despite the change in the environment. She also called the characteristics as the inexhaustible excellence. Thus, Ellen Sample, we will see that she was one of the person which has given the environmental determinism, not only environmental determinism, but certain parts of the cultural determinism as an important outcomes. Now, critical evaluation with recent data. Now, 2023 IPCC report shows tropical nations samples unfavorable zone, achieving higher GDP growth rate, that is India 7.2, Vietnam 5.1, than many temperate region nations, contradicting deterministic predictions of important. Counter example, Singapore Tropical ranks fourth in Human Development Index, proving technology can overcome climatic constraints, supporting possibilism over determinism. This is the second important aspect provided here. Then, after her, we have Carl Saar's cultural determinism. Very, very, very important. When we talk about the Carl Saar, he is one of the activists of the possibilistic school of thought in the US during the interwar period, that is World War One and the World War Two. He was very much influenced by the culture landscape and the landscape concept of the culture, which implied the changes over the natural landscape by the culture and civilizations of the human activities during those particular time period. He also uh, attempted to study the cultural landscape. Okay, here basically he started to understand the cultural landscape of the different regions in America. Initially, we'll see that the Khalsa tried to focus on study of culture and its influence on natural landscape, passing through the several stages into the cultural landscape. But in the later stage, what we see that he realized it is inherent. There are certain inherent difficulties to study these lands which are having varied cultures, because the evolution of human beings have not been very much simple. It is very much complex. For example, if a group is living in one region, if they are moving to another region and they are bifurcating into two regions, so they might have a single route, but the development of new cultures which are practiced by both the regions, it is very different here. So because of this, it became very difficult for him to understand that what was the different culture which is practiced by the different groups in the different regions. Thus here we see that according to him, the humans, they represented the latest change in fashioning of the landscape. For example, what we are doing in the latest part here, that has been given by the human as the development, that is the changes over the land as part of the culture of the human beings. So according to him, the systematic organization of the content of landscape proceeds with the theory building. Thus, he tried to develop a morphological method. This is an important part here. The morphological method of the cultural determinism by the Carl Saar, which was representative of the systematic approach. Okay, so here the contemporary application in environmental education can be seen as the urban farming in Detroit. Post-industrial wastelands transformed into community farms. Okay, 2023 data, 1400 urban gardens. Cultural activity reshapes the derelict landscape. India's cheetah reintroduction 22 to 24 in Kuno National Park. Cultural priorities, conservation ethos, transform natural landscape into managed habitats reflecting source, age and medium result reflection. Then we have Devant Witless's sequent occupants. Okay, Witless's sequent occupants. Now, what's Witlessy? Witlessy will be understanding in detail as a part of the development of the agricultural regionalization as a part of the quantitative revolution. So, what Witlessy saw, he developed the cultural determinism paradigm a bit further. He developed the concept of the sequent occupants. Under the sequent occupants, It recognizes the fact that any changes in the generative I, any changes in the generative I of a region inevitably leads to a reappraisal of the resource base of the region. Okay, it results into the reappraisal of the resource base of the region. Meaning what? Meaning that it affects the resource exploitation and morphology of the region itself. Thus, we see that this study was done in the regions of USA, where the regions were inhabited by the Red Indians in the primitive stage of development. And with the advent of Europeans, so for example, we can see here Red Indians present before the Europeans. So after Europeans, when the USA basically it became independent, and we say that the basic changes were done here. The slavery was done. Therefore, the various slaves, we can say, the Africans were brought from the region of Africa. So after this, what we see that there was a shift in the development in the regions here. The systems it changed, and what we see in the contemporary time. Okay, what we see in the contemporary time. This is the new occupant. Okay, so here Red Indians they are basically shifted towards the west, and there is mixed living of Europeans and the Africans, which are the new occupant in the 20th century. Okay, who are the, oh, sorry, this is 21st century, new occupant of the 21st century. So this here we see that this is one of the concept of new occupant or the sequent occupant given by the Whittlesey. Now, the successive societies leave cumulative cultures imprints on the landscape. Modern example, Istanbul's agricultural palimpsest, Roman aqueducts, Byzantine churches, Ottoman mosque, Republican modernism, visible layers of sequent occupants. Then Mexico City's landscape evolution, Aztec Tenochtitlan, Spanish colonial city, modern megacity, with each layer visible in urban form and land use. Under the Indian example, Delhi's seven cities, from Tomar Rajputs to British New Delhi, demonstrate sequent occupancy in UPSC relevant context here also. Then we have number five school, that is the Russian school, that is neo determinism. Okay, neo determinism, the Russian school, it also provides one fact that it is also called as indeterminism. There is a determinism, and the indeterminism, it is similar to the possibilism. Now, here we have Anuchin's neo-determinism. Anuchin synthesized determinism and possibilism. Environment changes through human activity, and changed environment subsequently influences the human development path. So here we see that environment and humans, they are interconnected with each other. One change will change the another, and another change will also change the other. Contemporary case studies we will see here, the stop and go determinism, that is traffic light theory by the Griffith Taylor, an Australian settlement model. Applied to the India's Himalayan tourism boom in 23-24, environment shows green light in summer, tourism possible, and red light during the monsoon landslides, yellow light during the seasons, requiring adaptive management part here. Okay, then next here we have the climate development nexus. The Chambal region transformation, once determined by dacoit culture, environment of ravines, now transformed by irrigation projects and conservation efforts, Environment change now determining new development path, that is ecotourism and agriculture. In arid regions of Maharashtra, water scarcity, environmental determination, then Jal Yukt Shivir, human intervention, change water tables, new agricultural possibilities, that is new deterministic feedback loop. Okay. Then in the next part, we have the recent applications in the key geographical debates, that is climate change, determinism versus possibilism. Deterministic view, IPCC warning that 1.5 degrees Celsius warming will make certain regions uninhabitable, that is Sahara expansion, small iron submergence. But the possibilist response here, the Barcelona's heat action plan, the Basel's green roof, Copenhagen's floodable park, prove adaptive capability here. So this is a question which is also asked in UPSC, is climate adaptive or validation of possibilism? Okay, so this here we will see that there is a summary, there is a short summary which is provided. A question is being discussed here. So you can write an answer to this question. Is climate adaptation a validation of possibilism? Okay, provide your answer. If you want to look at this answer, you can see here. Then there is certain another question. Discuss the contemporary relevance of geographical possibilism. Okay, this is another question. You can write the answer for this question. A short question is provided. Then a summary is provided. You can go through the summary. This will be uploaded in my account, that is your account of CivilPrep. Okay, so just if you want this PDF, you can go and download it from there. So guys, this is the first lecture, first topic. In the next lecture, we'll be looking at the second stage, that is the post, we can say that the post, the aerial differentiation part and the classical period, the development of classical period, and how this classical period, it influences the contemporary, that is the modern and postmodern period. Okay, along with the starting of the aerial differentiation. So guys, see you in the next lecture. So here we will see that these questions are provided here. If you want a live evaluation and mentorship for these questions, you can go through the premium course. Okay, not premium basically, yeah, premium also. There is live evaluation and mentorship provided with daily answer writing, which will actually help you to answer the questions in stipulated time period along with the completion of this particular course. Okay, so guys, in the next topic, thank you and take care.